Christina with Bubblegum Paper, and I'm here with another fun August birthday card. I told you there are a ton of August birthdays. I'm using products from Tailored Expressions and Mama Elephant. And today's card is for two of my very good friends, Ming and Judy. Ming calls me Chrissy, so I call her Mingy. And they were born on the same day in the same year, but they're not twins. Here's a close-up of what the card looks like, and let's get started. Today I'm using the Girlfriend stamps from Mama Elephant and the Happy New Home stamps from Tailored Expressions. I also had the stitched hillside borders from Lawn Fawn and the stitched squares from Simon Says Stamp. I'm going to use the group stamp image from the stamp set, but I only want to show the first three girls and not the fourth. So I'm going to carefully cut between the third and the fourth girl by stamping this image on some Post-it notes, which I'm going to use as masking paper. Then I'm going to take that fourth girl and I'm just going to put it on some white cardstock. So now when I stamp the image again, the fourth girl won't show up and only the first three will. Now the only thing here is the girl on the right now is missing an arm. So I'm going to use the other half of the masking paper. I'm going to cover her up and I'm using the single stamp and just carefully stamping her hand. And now I'll just use a Copic marker to go over that line so it looks like a fully stamped image. Now I'm going to stamp the three houses from the Happy New Home stamp set from Tailored Expressions. Ming and Judy live in the Bay Area, and so whenever I think of the Bay Area in San Francisco, I think of those really pretty row houses up on a hill. Now, although the three of us don't live in adjoining row houses up on a hill, I thought it would be fun to include that in this card. For my Copic coloring, I'm going to put all of the colors off to the side. There's quite a bit of coloring in here. So I'm going to color the three little girls first, and then I'll go in and do the houses. And for the three little girls, Ming is definitely the sporty one. So she's the one on the far left with the baseball cap, and she always wears very bright colors because she's so sporty, and athletic gear typically tends to have very sporty colors. Judy is always wearing very neutral colors: khaki, white, black, jean. I can't remember if there's any other color in her wardrobe, but I started coloring this and it actually ended up looking kind of funny because I did blue and gold, which is actually the colors of my high school athletic team. But anyways, so Judy's wearing black pants with the blue and gold jacket. And then I like to wear lots of dresses and my favorite color is pink, so that's why my little image is also wearing a pink dress, which I think you've seen before. Now, Ming, Judy, and I have been friends since our freshman year, but it wasn't until later, I think our sophomore year, when we started to hang out a lot more. And we attended class together, we were all in the same major, and that summer, I had an internship out in Philadelphia, and they had an internship in Delaware. So Wilmington and Philly are pretty close to each other by train. And one weekend, we were all very bored, so they came up to Philly to visit me, and we decided to go on an adventure. I didn't have a car, and so we took public transportation everywhere, and we somehow managed to get from the dorm or house that I was living in that summer to the King of Prussia Mall, which is not exactly, it's a huge mall and it's really nice, but it's more in suburban Philly versus the city itself. So we took a train to a bus, and then I remember we walked really far just to get to the mall. And then when we got to the mall, I don't know what it is that we saw. Maybe I bought it like a pen or a journal or something. But we ended up watching a movie, and we saw the movie Clueless, which became one of my favorite movies of all time. I think I still own the VHS to it. But that was sort of my intro to what California, sunny LA, California life was going to be like. So I remember watching Clueless with Ming and Judy. Probably watched it a couple times actually. And then after that we ate and then we figured out our way back. I don't remember exactly how we made it there and back, but luckily nothing happened to us. And now, fast forward many years later, we still hang out and visit. Both Ming and Judy have two kids, super adorable kids each, and they live pretty close to each other, so whenever I have a chance to go up there, I like to visit them and catch up for old time's sake. So anyhow, there's a lot more coloring happening here, so I'm going to speed this up, set it to some music, and I'll be back at the end. I'm using 2 pieces of scrap cardstock, and I'm going to do some really simple ink blending to make a sky and a hill. So for the sky, I'm using tumbled glass, and I'm just using a very, very soft stroke to go from the top to the bottom. I don't want to cover the entire piece of paper with the ink, so I'm using this smaller square die from Simon Says Stamp, the stitched squares. It's the second to largest, and I'm using that as a guide to see how far down I want my sky to go. Then I'm using the smaller piece of paper, and I will use cracked pistachio and pine needles distressing to create the grass. So I'm starting with cracked pistachio, and then I go in with a little bit of pine needles to make it a little bit darker. And this, I don't need that dark edge at the top, but I'll be die cutting that out anyways with the stitched hillside border die. For my die cutting, I'm using the 2 largest stitch squares from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm cutting out 2 frames. I'll use the inside for another project, but all I need right now are those 2 outer frames. And then I'm going to take the stitched hillside borders from Lawn Fawn, and I'm just cutting a hill from the green grass. And then I'm taking all of those Copic colored pieces and using their coordinating dies to cut them out. And then I'm going to assemble a mini scene just so I can figure out how high I want this to go. So I'm putting the houses down to make sure there's enough room. Then I know where I want the hill to go relative to the sky. And I'm using that second to largest stitch square to cut that out. Now I'm going to take all those die cut pieces and I'm going to assemble the card just to see where I want to stamp my sentiment. So I'm placing the houses in place, adding the girls, and then I decided to use these really fun speech bubbles that came with the Girlfriend stamp set. So I'm stamping one speech bubble. It's the clear one that you can put any image, any saying in. So I'm going to put yay in there. And then I'm using the solid speech bubble that says I heart us. And there are many other greetings in the stamp set that you can add. I just chose those 2. I also took the happy birthday and stamped it in the lower right corner. So I'm going to go die cut these speech bubbles off camera. And then if you'll remember, when I stamped these 3 girls, there was a 4th girl that I cut out. So the die cut does show the 4th girl, but I just quickly fussy cut around the edges. Now I'm placing everything down, so I'm going to use the stitched frame as kind of a guide to know where to place everything else. And I'm using my Tombow adhesive tape runner, and I'm just running that over all of the different pieces. I love this tape runner, so I pretty much use it on everything. Now I'm placing all of the houses down. And then for the hill, I'm using some foam adhesive and propping up the hill a little bit to give it more dimension. And now I'm going to take that second frame, and I added foam adhesive around the entire second frame. I'm placing that down, and the girls will be half on the frame and half on the card, so I'm only putting foam adhesive at their feet. So gluing them down, I'm adding the speech bubbles with even more foam adhesive. You guys know how much I love my foam adhesive. And then I'm going to glue this front panel to a standard A2 top folding card, and I'm adding Wink of Stella clear glitter over the entire front, really for the girls in the houses. So that's my finished card. Here are a couple close-ups of what that looks like. And happy, happy birthday, Ming and Judy. I hope you guys had an awesome birthday. And thank you all so much for watching. Here are 2 more recent videos I made using this Mama Elephant Girlfriend stamp set. You can follow me on social media at Bubblegum Paper or visit my blog at bubblegumpaper.com. Thank you again, and catch you next time. Bye!